Okay, welcome to Sprout E-Mentorship training. Yay! First off, congratulations on being a Sprout E-Mentor. Loved your applications. We think you'll do a great job. Just for context, the team is about 10 or 11 people, so it's more than just a couple of you here. Yeah, so let's get going. First thing is access check. If anyone does need a live transcript or closed captioning, that can be turned on if you look at your dashboard at the bottom of your screen. It looks like this. It's a little CC, and you can click on show captions and do the settings there. If it isn't working, someone let me know, and I can fix that. All right, let's keep going. So I'm your presenter today. I am Chelsea Caranto. I'm going to be coordinating the Sprout Mentorship program as well as Sprout E-Mentorship. I am your staff advisor for it, so I'm kind of your go-to for questions, for concerns, and things like that. Another thing I do is I support the student life and wellness programming here at Orsel. I also love dogs. I have my own dog. Her name's Mocha. Love animals, musicals, and of course, New College. I was a New College student, and I am still here, and I'm having a good time. We wish to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. Okay, so what are you going to get out of this training, this live training session? You'll be able to recognize some team members and connect with your fellow e-mentors. You'll be able to identify who your supports are within the student life team and understand the program as a whole. That includes the first year experience, which includes all of the programs that we do for our incoming students, as well as just e-mentorship in general. You'll also know the expectations of your e-mentors, expectations of your role. By the end of this session. I'll also be able to address any questions that you may have coming into the role. And yeah. Oh, skip the slide. My bad. All right, New College student life. That's you. You're part of the team. Welcome. In terms of e-mentorship, all the names in green are kind of who's involved in some degree. First name up there is Leah McCormick Smith. She is the Dean of Students. She's everyone's boss. She's my boss. She's technically yours. Then we have Alex. She's our coordinator, student groups, and leadership opportunities. You may have worked with her before in some capacity, whether it be orientation or Sprout Mentorship. Then there's me. I've already introduced myself. Shivani is also on our team as our student life coordinator, international student transition and success. She does a lot of programming for our international students. She'll be doing some programming for orientation week with a BIPOC resource fair and things like that. We also have Henna. So Henna is our Orsel outreach assistant. She's actually student staff. She's our work study student. So if you're ever interested in work study, if you're interested in getting involved in e-mentorship in a work study capacity, that could be something for you in the future. And then there's you, yay. Other team members you may meet, our orientation coordinators this year are Justin and Anna. They're kind of the big bosses of orientation. We also have our commuter advisors, also known as CAs. They work more in the fall and winter term throughout the year. And then we have our Sprout mentors, our orientation leaders, orientation executives, of course, our work study student staff. So we have work study in the summer. We also have work study in the fall and winter term. All right. Let's put some water. All right, so your go-tos for e-mentorship. There's Alex, there's me, and then there's Henna. Your main go-to is me, because I am your staff advisor. So any questions you have about resources, e-mentorship as in general, you can go to me, or even for like personal concerns, you can also go to me. Now, some of you may have worked with Alex before, so feel free to ask her questions as well. But in general, she will be your go-to if there are any main personal concerns or questions. Henna, our Orsal outreach assistant, she will be supporting e-mentorship with the newsletters. So if you do have questions about the newsletter or answering your prompts, I'll be touching on that later on in the training session. But if you do have questions about that, she can be one of your go-tos to ask some of those questions. She'll be the queen of newsletters. And of course, you can still ask me about it as well. We have a model or a program, I guess, at Orsal called FYE, also known as the first year experience. We really love to cater to our incoming students and their transition. So what does that look like? At the top here, wait, can you see my cursor? I'm gonna assume you can, because I feel like you should. Thanks, Stella. Yeah, so at the top here, that's us, that's new college student life. And then it kind of goes down, and that is how we support our first year students. We start off with Sprout e-mentorship, moves on to orientation, and then it moves on to Sprout mentorship, and then there's more opportunities to get involved and support them. But what does that look like exactly? Let's get into it. So we start off with Sprout e-mentorship in the summer, so that's June to September. What does that consist of? It's e-mentor and mentee connections and correspondence via email. So that's what you will be doing. It also consists of bi-weekly My New Roots newsletters. So those mentees will always be receiving newsletters with resources and things like that. Yeah. Moving on, so there is a bit of overlap this year between e-mentorship and orientation. So orientation will be starting in August this year. That's because things are moving back a bit. If you remember, usually classes start, I believe it's the Thursday after Labor Day. Now, I believe it's the Tuesday after Labor Day. So after Labor Day, you're literally just starting class. Woohoo. But that also means our programming is pushed back. So there will be a point where e-mentorship and orientation will be happening at the same time, but e-mentorship will be on its way to ending. Orientation is basically a week-long programming. It supports the transition of our incoming students in multiple capacities. It's a fun time. I recommend promoting it to your mentees. And yeah, so once orientation is over, we head into the fall and winter term, basically the school year. And we have our Sprout mentorship. So that is more in person. It can be virtual in some aspects, but it is our one-on-one mentorship between our mentors and our mentees. They meet monthly or more if they choose. And we also have our Sprout community meetings, which are monthly. That consists of everyone that's involved, mentors, mentees. We gather and we have a good time. What's next? So there are more opportunities to get involved during the year, maybe once they're done with first year and going into second year, more opportunities. There's student life programming, residence life as well. There is work study, there's student leader hiring. So you can be a Dawn, or you can be part of orientation. You can be part of mentorship. So many opportunities for our first year students here. All right, let's get into e-mentorship training. This is what you will need to be officially trained. There is an e-mentorship handbook, which will be sent out by June 3rd. And you are expected to read it, review it, not memorize it. It's a fairly long document, but at least be familiar with the content. There is the live session, which you are in now. Congratulations, you're about to get that finished. And this year we will require identify, assist, and refer, also known as IAR, which is a module. Very quick, but it does train you on how to identify certain situations where mental health is a concern for a student. It'll let you know how to assist them and how to refer them. Yeah. All of the training here listed must be done before the first My New Roots newsletter is sent out. So that is June 12th. So make sure you read the handbook, you do the module, training sessions done by then. That is mainly because once the newsletter is sent out, that is when you will be receiving emails. That first newsletter will tell them, hey, this is your e-mentor. Go say hey. And then they'll say hey. All right, so what is the point of e-mentorship? Question from Jaya. What if you already did the training like a year ago? Do we have to redo it? If you can send me, so part of sorry, are you talking about IAR? Yeah. All right. So if you have done the training before, no worries. If you can just send me a certificate of it, if you have it, I'll be like, cool, you don't have to do it again. For those of you who have not done it before, at the end of the module, you will receive a certificate as proof that you've done it. So yeah, of course, if you've done it before, send it over to new.studentlife@utoronto.ca. Here, I'll type it here. Oh, so squeaky. There you go. And then I'll confirm that you have done the training. Good question. So what's the point of e-mentorship? It essentially assists in the transition of an incoming student into new college in U of T. A lot of them are just leaving high school. They're very eager to get involved. They have many questions, but they don't know where to go, how to locate information, things like that. So our upper year new college students, which is you, you're the perfect set of people to support them in that. Sometimes it's harder to get information from offices because, sometimes they don't give you the full experience of, what am I saying? They don't provide you with exactly how the experience is as a student. When you're emailing them, you can tell them about the resource, you can refer them to the resource, but you can also give them your experience with it, which will give them some peace of mind with their worries and questions. Access campus resources. Yeah, so you end up developing trust in the college with your e-mentors and between the e-mentors and e-mentees before the year begins. It's a scary time for them. They're gonna feel like the new kid at school again, and it's always nice to know that there is someone there who's an upper year student that they already know. It's not doing it. There we go. Whoomst. I love the word whoomst. So who are we mentoring? This is pretty old data. It's 2020. But this is basically who is at New College. So we have about 6,000 New College students. 62% of them have a first language other than English, 38% with English as their first language. 43%, big chunk of our population are international students, which is pretty cool. And then 100 plus countries. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we are currently the biggest college in terms of our numbers, generally, and for international students. So pretty diverse group, pretty big group as well. All right, so a quick overview of the program, as well as your responsibilities. As I've said before, it runs throughout the summer. So that's June to early September. Bi-weekly Mind Your Roots newsletters. They will be receiving those, and it will have content about student life, resources, and it will have a section that's personalized by you through a prompt answer. The first newsletter will be out on June 12th, and that, as I've said before, this is when e-mentees will start emailing you. You'll be receiving these newsletters as well, just so you get to see what else is going on, see those updates. One big thing to note about Sprout E-Mentorship is that it's an opt-out program for e-mentees, meaning every single incoming student is a part of the program, and their way of opting out is just not emailing back or not participating. So that also means that each of you have about 100 or so e-mentees. Yay, big group. Don't let that number scare you though, because a lot of students don't end up participating. Every now and then you'll get just a couple emails. But if it does get overwhelming at some point, please let me know, and we will find a way to support you in that. So your responsibilities as an e-mentor. First and foremost, you will be responding to the emails from incoming students within 48 hours. So you get a good 2 days to respond. Some of you are probably doing courses or things like that. It's a very busy time. Some people have jobs as well. So you do have time to really think about your responses and to formulate those emails. You have bi-weekly reports about interactions with students. It's just to let me know what's going on. There are a lot of mentees, there are a lot of mentors, so I just want to get a sense of what's going on. The first report is due by the second newsletter launch, so that's June 26th. For reference, every time a newsletter is sent, and you will be receiving the schedule, that also means the report is due. So that also means that each of you have about 100 or so e-mentees. Yay, big group. Don't let that number scare you though, because a lot of students don't end up participating. Every now and then you'll get just a couple emails. But if it does get overwhelming at some point, please let me know, and we will find a way to support you in that. So your responsibilities as an e-mentor. First and foremost, you will be responding to the emails from incoming students within 48 hours. So you get a good 2 days to respond. Some of you are probably doing courses or things like that. It's a very busy time. Some people have jobs as well. So you do have time to really think about your responses and to formulate those emails. You have bi-weekly reports about interactions with students. It's just to let me know what's going on. There are a lot of mentees, there are a lot of mentors, so I just want to get a sense of what's going on. The first report is due by the second newsletter launch, so that's June 26th. For reference, every time a newsletter is sent, and you will be receiving the schedule, that also means the report is due. So big change this year in terms of newsletters. In the past, we would literally give you the questions on a form, and you would give us the answers to input into the newsletter. This time, you'll be inputting your prompt answers into the newsletter. Yay! So you'll be able to have access to Campaign Monitor, which is the newsletter platform we're using. And then you'll get to personalize your own newsletter. It'll be fun. So you'll be supporting your fellow e-mentors as well. So you'll be part of Team's channel, and this is where you can ask your fellow e-mentors questions about certain resources. If you're not sure about a resource, you can be like, hey, What's up with the registrar's office? What's their phone number? I don't know. And then someone else can answer you, and then you can support each other there. I do recommend that you create an e-mentorship folder in your inbox, just because there are peaks, especially when a newsletter comes out. You will sometimes just get a nice wave of emails. We don't want them to get neglected or forgotten because your professors are also emailing you. So make sure you have an inbox or some way of organizing your e-mentee emails. All right, so responding to emails, how does that look? Some general response guidelines. Quick reminder that you are the student's first impression of new college and U of T. So you do represent us. Make sure you represent yourself and the college and the university in a positive manner. This is their first impression, their first experience receiving resources or support. So make a good impression. Make sure you proofread your responses as well to students before clicking send. Something that I like to do, I have inputted a delay on Outlook. So when I do press send, there's time for you to undo it in case you see a typo or something like that. So that could be useful for you. If you have questions about that, let me know. Yeah, check your inbox regularly, including the junk folder. It's important to know that not all of the incoming students have their at mail.utoronto.ca email yet. Some of them are using Gmail or another type of email. So sometimes those emails will fall into a junk folder. So make sure you monitor both. Strike a balance between being relatable and professional. As I've said before, you can talk about your experience with certain newsletters or certain groups and events on campus, but also still be professional. You don't need to be like, oh yeah, I hated that event, don't go. You can formulate that in a more professional manner that will not necessarily deter them, but can still give them the opportunity to explore whatever it is you are talking about. Right, so answering emails, some of the basics. Get in the habit of thanking students for their email, especially the first time they reach out. Yeah, it's good to get in the habit of this, especially if you plan on going into the workforce. It's a common practice we do anyway, outside of mentorship. I still do it with my colleagues. But yeah, get in the habit of that. It's always nice to be thanked. Another thing is to always CC new.studentlife@utoronto.ca. That is an email that the whole student life team monitors, something I monitor as well, and it is something that Henna will be monitoring. This is so that we just get a sense of what's going on as well. Yes, there are the reports, but sometimes if we see an email, we see that you did great with your response and your referral, sometimes we'll be like, oh, here's another resource that would be great. We'll just shoot you a quick email saying, hey, maybe recommend this to them as well. This is also to keep track of any concerns or red flags that may come up for your safety and for the e-mentee's safety. Always use your @mail.utoronto.ca email address when corresponding with students. Yes, please use that email. That will be the only form of communication we expect from you. So don't DM them. Even if they somehow find you on Instagram, don't respond. You are in a professional environment, so this is your professional way of communicating with them. Best practices for e-communication. Profanity is not accepted in our e-mentorship program. Yeah, don't swear. They're not your friends, right? They are students that you are supporting. So yeah, I think it's pretty self-explanatory there. Pay attention to the content of your writing. So know what you're talking about. Nothing wrong. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with not knowing something. If you're unsure, ask your peers or staff. Yeah, so as I said, you're going to be part of a Teams channel where you can ask questions to make sure what you are telling them is accurate. And you can ask staff as well. You can ask me. Remember, you are not responsible for what others do with the information you give them, but you are responsible for what you share. So one thing, if you really like a certain resource, you're like, yeah, you should, like, I recommend this resource for you. It's really going to help with whatever you're worried about based on your question. If you check in on them and they're like, yeah, I didn't really use that resource, that's totally okay. Sometimes things aren't as useful to some people as others. Your job here is to just refer students and help them. Yeah. Also, make sure your messages are clear and logical so that they can understand them.
Hi, team. Something happened with the video editing, and this specific section kind of disappeared. So I'm just going to redo it. So, limits, boundaries, and confidentiality. Only share info about mentees with Orsal staff. We have this thing called the up, not out rule, which basically means any information you learn about your mentees or any students you are supporting while you are in this role, do not relay that information out to your friends or family or any strangers. Only relay that information to any of your seniors that can support you in providing more resources or more help for the student. This means pretty much me or Alex or any other Orsal staff that you feel comfortable talking to. For the program, please only connect with the students via your U of T email. Even if they do request for your phone number to go on a call, to connect over Instagram, just remind them that you have to, as part of the program, you must communicate over email, just so we're also part of the correspondence and we can keep track of anything that may be going on in case there is something serious. We're not part of the Instagram group chat, but that's okay. Yeah, so if you do have any questions about this, limits, boundaries, confidentiality, please let me or Alex know. We've been Sprout E-Mentors before when we were students. We know how to go around doing this practice. Part of limits and boundaries, though, we do understand it is summer. Some of you have courses, some of you have part-time jobs. So we don't want you to get burnt out, which is why we do have that 48-hour time frame to email your mentees back. So know your limits, know your capacities, and again, if you need help navigating this, let us know.
Okay, resource referrals. What does a good referral look like? You provide full contact information, as well as links that they can access. You can explain what the service or the resource can do for them. So it's one thing to provide a link, but it's another to explain what that actually does, and explain how it can help them. Not sure what to do? When in doubt, email us for help. You can also message your peers, message me on Teams, and then you can still respond. You can still respond to their email, but explain that you are looking into the appropriate resource, and we'll get back to them shortly. So as I've said before, you have 48 hours to email them. You can say, sorry, I'm not sure at the moment, but I will get back to you. And that gives you a little bit more time to find the right resource. Okay, so here's an example of a mentee email. Gosh, text is a little small for me. All right. Hi, Chelsea. I had a question about where I can find some information about the courses I have to take in first year. I'm in Life Sci. Also, where do I register for orientation? Have a great day, Samir. Great. Nice email. Very common type of questions. It's talking about orientation, talking about their stream and where to get information about it. Short and sweet, but then what we expect typically from our e-mentors looks like this. Yeah. Keep in mind there were 2 questions in that email, which is why it's fairly long. I won't read the whole email, but I will pinpoint specific highlights of this response. This is a pretty good response. I didn't write it. This was created a while ago, but as you can see here, there is a link. You can see that they have thanked the person for reaching out. Yeah, there's a piece here. I started off in life science as well. So there's that connection piece. You're trying to make connections with these students. This is one way of doing it. I would recommend reaching out. Yeah. So reaching out to the registrar's office here, they also explain what they do, as well as their hours, their times, any other ways of getting in touch with them. And the same is done here for their answer to orientation. Cool. Okay, so we realize it is summer. It's time for vacation and kind of that rest and relaxation. So when you are planning to be away, that's totally okay. If you aren't going to have access to your email for more than 72 hours, please email me at new.studentlife@utoronto.ca. So we can basically plan on how to support your mentees while you will be away. If you are emailing with students frequently, so if there's a specific mentee that's always going to you and you know each other, you're always connecting, send them an email to let them know that you're going to be away, and include it in your responses back to them. You can also set an automatic reply on your email. I really do recommend this just so students are not left wondering if they've been ghosted. Here's an example of an automatic reply. Hi there, thank you for your email. If you are a mentee, incoming student, contacting me as part of the Sprout E-Mentorship program at New College, I will unfortunately be away until Friday, blah, 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 and will respond to your that's supposed to be inquiry upon my return. And as you can see here, there is a note about urgent matters. And then for that, they just refer them to the Office of Residence and Student Life. So that is us. The reason we are the resource or the office that is recommended here is because we monitor. There are multiple people that monitor the email. So if it is urgent, it will for sure be addressed. Yeah. Feel free to copy this exact automatic reply if you ever do need it. I will not count it as plagiarism. You have my permission. No need to cite me either. Important platforms that we will be using. I have mentioned them before, but we have Microsoft Teams and Outlook. Teams, you will be part of the student leadership team. That's the name of it. This is where you can message us. You can message each other. Yeah, please react to messages so we know you've seen them. Specifically messages from staff. We just want to know that you're updated and informed on certain things. In terms of updates that we send, just quick reminders about deadlines. If there's a cool resource that we think would be great to recommend to your mentees, that's also there. And you can reply to messages. Yeah, please interact. We love it. This is from Alex. Please send pet photos and memes. Yeah, it's summer. We want to have a good time. We're still working, so nice to have things to look at. I'll definitely send some pics of my dog because I love her. If you still haven't been added, please email Chelsea. Now, don't email me because I have not added anyone yet. I will be adding you by the end of the day though, so don't you worry. If you do have questions about how to use Teams, let me know. If you have used some sort of messaging, we call it messaging platform before, it is fairly similar. But again, you can let me know if you need some support in that. We'll also be using Outlook. Yeah, we love Microsoft. This is what you will be using to email your mentees and email us if need be. Again, use your U of T emails. We'll also be sending calendar reminders for certain deadlines through Outlook Calendar. Well, when you do get a calendar reminder, it will show up in your inbox, so your email inbox, and you can just, it says RSVP, but you can just click the check mark when you receive it, just so that it is in your calendar. All right, Campaign Monitor. If anyone has worked with MailChimp before, which is what we used in the past, this is fairly similar. It's just another newsletter platform. It's what we use to send out the My New Roots newsletters. So mentees will be receiving different newsletters depending on who their Sprout e-mentor is. Each newsletter has a section that includes their e-mentor's response to a prompt. So what does that look like? Basically, let's say Edlin has her 150 mentees. They will not be receiving a newsletter that has Stella's answer to a prompt. They will only be receiving a newsletter for Edlin's. With that said, you are responsible for editing that. You don't have to edit the whole newsletter itself. You will get a general template to work with. All you really need to worry about is inputting your answer to the prompt within that specific section, which will be at the top of the template. You'll be, yeah. So in your answers to your prompts, aim for about 5 or more sentences. It's okay if it's a little less depending on the prompt. But yeah, we just really want you to share your experiences with our mentees in a substantial manner. The first template release will be June 5th. So a template release, that means Henna or I will be sending out the release. That's it. Sending out the template for you to edit. Each of you will have your own template labeled with your name. All you really need to do is type up your answer there. There is also a deadline to input your answers, and that will be June 10th for the first newsletter. The newsletter itself, as I've said before, will be sent out on June 12th. So you do have some time to think about your answer to the prompts. You will also receive the prompts in advance. It should be in the handbook once it is sent out. So yeah, if you want to save some time, take about an hour and just go on a Word doc and formulate your answers to each of the prompts. All you need to do is copy paste when the time comes. Your first prompt for the first newsletter is a traditional prompt that we always use. If you are a plant, what would you be and why? Because this is the Sprout E-Mentorship program, we like to start with something about plants. But yeah, think about your answer, and the template should be released very soon. Now, you might have never used Campaign Monitor before. That's totally okay. There will be a video tutorial that will be sent out by June 5th, basically at the same time of the template release. So that will give you some time to learn how to use it. It is pretty intuitive, so don't you worry. If you do have questions along the way, again, send me a quick message or email me, and we can go through it. I can even go on a quick Zoom call to see what's going on and see where you need some help. All right, We are nearing the end. So after this training session, moving forward, what are we doing? So you are going to, well, you will be added to Teams. No need to email us. Um, Review the handbook once it is sent out and email us any questions. I'm also on Teams, so you can also message me on Teams. Quick note though, I do work 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So if you do message me after or before that time frame, I'm not ignoring you. So sorry. I'm just not working at the time, so I might not be getting those notifications. You do have the identify, assist, and refer module to do, but you have until June 12th to do all of these pieces. And then you have until June 10th to edit your newsletter. If you haven't done so already, please follow us at Life at New, and you can follow the orientation account, even if it's just temporary. Um, this is not only for you, but it's so that you are aware um, of certain updates for your mentees and that you can support them and give them referrals from what you learn from Instagram, from these Instagram accounts.